operating in over 75 countries to seek for the rights of children and equality for girls. Plan International has remained part of the Africa Social Impact Summit through her 3 years journey. On the first summit, I was a panelist, and the second summit last year, I was also a panelist. This year, proudly, a panelist and a partner. Now, our interest in this summit is one thing, just one issue: to ensure that the issues of girls and young people are actually on the table and that solutions are uncovered and secured to enable girls to lead, to learn, to decide, and to thrive. It is the reason why I'm here today, standing on this podium with my shadow country director. This is a program. The Shadow Country Director is a program I started last year as a country director of Plan International here in Nigeria. I decided to create a program because we're an agency that seeks for the rights of girls and equality for girls. I decided to create a program that will give young girls an opportunity to experience leadership and to see leadership through a different lens from a chief executive position. And so I created the role of the Shadow Country Director.
If we are seeking to imagine progress and create a new blueprint for sustainable growth in Africa, we need all hands on deck. And this includes the marginalized group, which unfortunately includes young women and girls. So this is a call to action for everyone. This is a message from all the girls. Let us put all hands on deck, promote education, protect girls, very importantly, protect girls, create safe spaces for girls, be inclusive, see inclusion not just as a privilege but as a right, and create safe spaces where girls can thrive, where they can decide, learn, and lead. Thank you very much.
Turn come into the schools to teach these children, and you know what they say about garbage in, garbage out. The third thing is promoting digital learning opportunities. Not just that children hear about computers when they draw it on the board, but that they have access to interact with the system, and it strengthens and improves their creativity. And then with what we're doing with the climate education support is ensuring that in the schools that we have adopted or are supporting, that there's an initiative called the Clean Our World Initiative, and what it basically does is utilizing edutainment as a means of encouraging children to become more environmentally responsible. Because this is not an Owando Foundation panel. Actually,
they're constantly running against time, trend, and tenor, tend to focus their investments on the shiny things, the things that are seen and visible. And like Tonya said earlier on, that education is a long-term investment. Doesn't show you anything immediately, and so investments have to be done long-term, and we need to get policymakers to begin to think beyond the 4-year cycle of planning. Invest long-term. And then just to put it in perspective, while I was head of the economic team for my sub-national, we did an analysis to say that to have a consultant doctor, right, the average from primary school is about 26 years, right? So if you want to have 4,000 doctors in 26 years from today, assuming a 50% exam point drop-off rate, you need to enroll about 8.2 million children today. And that level of planning that requires long-term visioning is relevant for every sector in the country. And if you're to look at it from an economic perspective, to say that if we talk about our GDP, our income potential and all of that, and the kind of values we want to bring in, you need to activate a number of sectors and create value for both local and international stakeholders across various industries. And for these industries to thrive, you need to build processes, procedures, activities that will cause the value to be created in these industries and for us to generate that kind of resources. To operate these processes, you need capabilities. And it takes a generation to raise the kind of capabilities that will run the economy of this country and make it globally impactful. Thank you.
Thank you. For example, because I have ties to the East, my mom is Igbo. From a young age, the male child is indoctrinated to know that you are the head of your family. And that one of the things that make you the head of the family is your ability to provide for your family. And so that from an early age is a driving force for their desire to become economically empowered. And when they're economically empowered, you can have a household where you have someone who went to school and someone who went through the apprenticeship system. The one who went through the apprenticeship system is the one who is paying the fees of the children of the one who went to school. And so when you want to encourage him to send his children to school, he's saying, my brother who went to school, his children, I'm paying their school fees, so what's the value of the education they're getting? So we as a nation, but especially the private sector, need to encourage more collaboration between the academia and the private sector so that there is value, not just academic value, but entrepreneurial value in the way that we prepare our children for the workplace.
Reimagine how we reimagine education, right? And one way to do that in the current is to look at the current architecture, to say industry by industry, do a job roles assessment across all industries to say what kind of vision do we require on the continent, do we require in our countries, what kind of vision for these industries do we have to be globally competitive, to position us for the future? And then based on that vision, begin to say that what roles do we have today and what roles do we need to continue to have and what other roles do we need in the future? And once we've defined these roles and profiled these roles, begin a process. So there are going to be two sides to it. There are the current talents in the job market. How do you upgrade, upskill those in the existing pool to meet the demands and expectations of today's world? That's the first. Then secondly, how do we, from this learning, incorporate all of this into our curriculum? First of all, do a brief workshop or engagement with trainers, educators, policy makers to understand the shifting tides and what needs to be done, the kind of asset policies and regulations that need to be put in place. And then lastly, incorporate this into the curriculum and then get the next generation trained in line with current and future demands so they're relevant and competitive in the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Discussing with the government to take this into the National Health Insurance Scheme or State Health Insurance Scheme. We did the pilot in Lagos, in Epe, so our telemedicine clinic is still in Epe. We will have it in Kagoro, Bichi. We have established more than 20 telemedicine clinics across 6-7 states in Nigeria. And recently we got a grant from the Afrexim, not a grant, we got a facility, a debt facility from Afrexim Bank of $1.5 million. To scale telemedicine nationwide and across other African countries. Right. So telemedicine holds a lot of promises for Nigeria, for Africa. We need to see the government, a commensurate interest. We've had a lot of interest from the private sector demonstrating willingness to support the government. We need to see commensurate interest from the government when it comes to regulation and policies. Because if there are no clear regulation, it does not instill confidence. The doctors want to be sure that they are covered when they are providing telemedicine services. Telemedicine happened on all of us. It wasn't built into medical school curriculum. So how do I access a patient on the telemedicine and ensure that I'm delivering quality care? What should be the minimum qualification of doctors who are seeing patients on telemedicine? Ethical consideration, privacy, data protection, and all those things. And if there's a medical legal issue, where is the jurisdiction of choice? You want to leverage the global pool of telemed of doctors who have left the country. So that's what Mobile does. We are bringing thousands of these doctors back to the platform to boost the human capital shortage. We need to have clear licensing that does not impede innovation. So I think just to call it short.
Next slide. This was in May 2022, and then in June 2023, we launched what has become, or what was then and still is, the first publicly available electric vehicle charging station, sited at Adeola Ojeku, very close, just at the Sterling Bank branch on Adeola Ojeku. There you can charge, you can drive your electric vehicle and charge it. And I have to just take you back a little. When we started this journey, one of the things that we always encountered whenever we spoke with people was, people always say, well, you want to bring electric vehicles, where is the light? Where are the chargers? Where do you want to charge them? Right, and then we started to scan the ecosystem. Who else is out there doing stuff that we're excited about? The reason why we actually went in was because we didn't see many serious people trying to solve the problem. Right, and we thought this was a big enough problem to solve because it moves us away from problems I highlighted earlier. Now, when we jumped in, we found, like I said, we found a few people doing interesting things, and then what we had to do was to bring them together through a very lengthy process and conversations, and put a standard in place and build this electric vehicle charging station locally. I'm glad to let you know that the station was built with over 90% local content, and this goes to tie. Thank you. It goes to tie into what I said earlier about one of the solutions we're bringing on board, which is to develop local capacity. Right, there's no point running to Europe or the Americas or Asia every time there's a glitch, in our facility. We are developing, or we have developed a local capacity to be able to not only install but fix where there's an issue. And these, apart from charging, of course, it has a payment interface. The screen you see here in the middle of the charger allows you to pay using, it could be USSD, it could be transfer, it could be, about 5 different payment options. So this was very well thought through, and we've run it now for well over a year, and it's still available as we speak. All right, next slide.